slowly into the silent night, an endless fall, like cuts from 1,000 knives. I hear you call, but I'm still stumbling in the dark, a silent howl as I dissolve into your arms. I waited now, seduced by a sweet mirage. We could leave or we could stay, sedated state or wide awake. I can't do this anymore, it's hurting like it never has before. We could leave or we could stay, sedated state or wide awake. I can't do this anymore, it's hurting like it never has before. Jaded, the scar you left is like an open wound. I'm down and low, don't wake me up, it's still too soon. I hear you call, but I'm still falling deep in love. I'm washed away and carried to your sweet embrace. I waited now, seduced by a sweet mirage. We could leave or we could stay, sedated state or wide awake. I can't do this anymore, it's hurting like
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Octane Online Racing's qualification for the Permobile Italian job Imola 12 hours here. Autodromo Internazionale Enzo di Nino Ferrari, better known as Imola. In the Emilia-Romagna part of Italy, we are here at this great Grand Prix circuit. It's historical Grand Prix circuit of 4.9 kilometers long with 19 turns. We are joining us now here in the commentary booth is Jamie Comboy, and we've got Glenn Germain on the cameras as well. Jamie, JC, how are you?
Hello, Cameron. Happy Friday to you, my handsome friend. Hello, everyone out there in Chatland, and welcome to the drivers. What an excellent track this is, said, blinking under duress. Very well done with the name of the track too. There's no way that I can spit out that spaghetti babble of words. I'm just going to stick to calling it Imola, if that's okay with you.
Fine by me, and I'll be joining you very much on that one. We do have our AMs out for the first runs. Our qualification will be split up into the respective classes, so it'll be the AMs out first, followed by the Pro-Ams, and then the Sweaty Pros.
Can't wait for the Sweaty Pros. I can't wait to see some 39s tonight, and potentially just going off a couple of notes that I've seen from teammates who have been in the practice sessions before this qualifying sessions. We may be very lucky to see a 38 tonight, if what I'm hearing is correct. There was Lamb and Cooley both down in the very, very low 39s. And there's a few other drivers that are more than capable of matching those boys as well. So we're really in for one of the fastest qualifying sessions we've ever seen at this track in Octane Online Racing. The temperature is a very perfect for driving 16 ambient, and I think the track's around about 24, something like that. So very, very ideal conditions for qualifying. So these guys will be giving it everything tonight, trying to get up there into those really low times. Hello, Malik, and hello, as I said, to everyone out there in YouTube land. Good to have Malik in chat. Goodness gracious, it's good to have that healthy man back. And yeah, Glenn Germain behind the cameras as well tonight. Take your hats off for him. I don't know who's race directing tonight. Do we know who's in the stewards area this evening?
So we got our Sean Bub now in race directing tonight as well. Venerable set of hands. So yeah, thank you to everyone who gives up their lovely Friday evening, or whether you're choosing to join us willingly. Welcome to everyone, and I really appreciate everyone who makes this all possible. But yes, got quite a long qualifying session, a lot longer than our normal sprints. It will be interesting to see. But yes, I did hear 39 ones in the practice session, which is pretty scary. Obviously, year on year, it feels like the cars get faster and faster. But yeah, 38s will be very magical to see. I wonder if we'll get that in the shootout or in the actual main part of qualifying.
Yeah, can't imagine it happening in the shootout. It'd be something incredible if it did. But obviously with the shootout, they only get those sort of 1 lap warm up and then the 2 lap thing. So I think the 38s, if at all, will be in that 20 minutes that we get to see at the end of this hour when the pros come out, and they've got that full 20 minutes to get out there, do 4 or 5 laps, get a hot lap down, get a banker lap down, and then go out again and really push themselves. So if at all, I think in that last 20, it is. So yeah, 20 minutes now for the AM class drivers. They'll count us down to the 40-minute mark, and then we'll have the Pro-Ams come out, take us from 40 to 20, and then, of course, from 20 to 0, the Pro-Class drivers.
Yep, and if anyone is confused, that is 777, the currently second on the leaderboard right now, is a Pro-Am car, but has been given special dispensation to qualify in this AM group due to a scheduling conflict. So they'll be, obviously, they'll be obviously only representing Pro-Am times. And yes, it means that they're unavailable for the next part of this session. So they have been given special dispensation. That's why they're out there. Otherwise, they'll be receiving a firm paddling if they hadn't asked beforehand.
Who's that? The 777 Lambo there, is it?
Yeah, the Pro-Am car.
They're bloody lucky to be getting away with Pro-Am just quietly. Ty Rob's very quick. Breno Ellis very quick. And Babby and Bevis not slow at all. Those Oz Team Racing boys are pretty bloody quick. So very sneaky Pro-Ams, those boys. Breno Ellis currently leading. Oh, he's not quite leading, but he's right up there with the Split Blue Championship, currently led by Austin McNeil. So Breno especially is well and truly a pro driver. So those guys, you'll see them probably take the lead here. And indeed, well, it was until Purcell came through and pinched it with a 40.5. In fact, hang on, where's the Pro-Am time gone? It was.
On that one.
It just disappeared, did it not? Did he potentially just set a time and then disconnect? Yeah. Well, that's how much they needed to get in and get out. They've gone in, they've done their time, they've put it on the board, and then they've departed without a word. Good on them.
Then do your business. You know, it's like the urinals, really, isn't it? Go in, do your business, get out. Don't hover around those things. But yes, fair enough to them. And just a shout out, so good luck to everyone who is competing tonight in the Motorsports Australia FIA thingy-majiggy games. I forget the name of right now, not very professional of me, but we do have a lot of people who race regularly in our series out there, and just want to wish them all the best of luck. You're already ripping it up as it is just to be there in Fortress Melbourne.
Yeah, absolutely. Some very big OOR names representing. Well, I think they're representing themselves. I'm not sure if they're representing Australia or a particular team. Again, I'm not really across that event either. But as I said, there's some really big names. Hobbsy's in there. One of our most favourite commentators. Jamie Koza.
Yep, quite a few out there. I think Big Nada's down there as well, as many know. Hence why you might see some names missing later in when we get to the pro category. I believe the bulk of one of those teams is currently pretty much all out there. I think Hobbsy and Bakita. Hence why they're not here for qualifying, understandably.
Yeah, it would have been very nice to see Bakita try and wrangle that BMW around and try for that 38. But as I said, we've still got plenty of fast names here this evening. Matt Lamb, probably my favourite going into this one. He's been doing a fair bit of work. He actually skipped Split Blue last night just to practice Imola. So you can bet your bottom dollar he's put in the time and effort to extract the most out of his Porsche.
Yes, Matthew Lamb, when he's fully committed, is a very scary thing to be out there. But obviously, we know we got people like you said, Chris Cooley as well. Very, very formidable around these places, around any track, to be honest, if he's got the right machinery.
And Jean-Pierre Seneca is also another one who's going to be putting in some red-hot laps. This is one of his favourite tracks. So, yeah, he's probably not done quite as much practice as he would have liked. Of course, with Silverstone, he would have been practicing more for that than this one. But still very, very confident behind the wheel of that Porsche and at this track. So you can expect a pretty fast time from him as well.
Is Peach qualifying tonight? I saw.
I don't
Tom
think
Maloney
he is. Tom Maloney, yeah. That's a good shout from you. I just recalled that at the same time as you.
No, I saw him in the server earlier, so if he's in there, he's probably in there for to do qualifying. But yes, fair enough. But anyway, right now we'll save the pros for when they get their own 20 minutes. But leading up the AM class right now is Tim Purcell. Definitely not an AM driver. Definitely someone who is worthy of their silver category. But yeah, that's what the classifications make up. It's across the whole team, not just the the quickest of drivers. And CK here over the grass and over the curbs, and unfortunately that's whole first sector ruined. I know you're not too much of a fan of this place, but God, the first sector is so decisive here at Imola, and it's really, really make or break, and definitely broken K's lap this time around.
I mean, yeah, that's probably one of the more redeeming features of the track, is that if you're going to try and bin a hot lap, at least you're going to do it in the first sector. It is pretty tough through there, and to get all that right can be, as you said, pretty definitive in whether or not your lap's going to be any good or not. So, yeah, if you're going to kill a lap, at least it's going to be early.
Absolutely. Neil Haynes here, one of our fellow co-commentators. Hopefully we might be able to get him in the booth during the race next week round. Obviously not while he's driving, but he always tries to maybe get himself an hour slot at least between driving stints. But great to see him out there, as well as obviously Gosling, McNulty. Only, I think, yeah, see that's right, only nine AM cars out there right now, but we only got 8 minutes to go. Oh, unfortunately, that's an invalidation. How much do you cut? Too much in that case. You kind of got to fully hop the first curb and then take half of the second curb, is what my old friend, Eastbourne friend, Jordan Grant Smith from the EU scene used to tell me in his Porsche. But yeah, very unfortunate, and definitely not going to be the only one out there with an invalidation.
Interesting, because he looked like he got it spot on from my perspective, and the BMW certainly didn't get too upset with how much he took. He powered on through there beautifully and gained 2 or 3 tenths. So as you said, it was just the wrong side of the sausage, and it did give him an invalidation. But if it was any closer to being on track, he was going to gain a big old chunk of time there. So unlucky for Haynes, but plenty of time left to have another crack. Everyone's favourite set of corners that Lewis has just gone through, the Acqua Minerale, sort of really downhill, cambered, sort of right, and then it's uphill again, left, and it's it's. I think if I was going to name some corners on this track that I do like, it's probably going to be those ones. Yeah, very, very, very interesting and complex set of corners, Acqua Minerale.
I'm just happy it's one of these circuits that's decided to have corner names, but actually name all the corners, unlike some tracks that just name some of the corners. But yes, except for that one. But not all of them, but the ones that matter, Glenn. The ones that matter. But yes, obviously, a few changes to this track. It's been in various different configurations, but we do run the, was probably the old historic, well, actually, not even the start. The Grand Prix has always had pretty much a chicane as long as I remember. Maybe some few older heads can remember if Grand Prix ever had the full ball straight, but it's definitely never recalled it having had that until it recently came back a few years ago.
So I'm not up to speed with alternate configurations. Are you saying that turn 2, 3, and 4 used to be a straight?
No, this whole straight, they had a chicane just before the timing line in the back when in the mid 2000s and in the 90s. So they wouldn't have the top end speed that we would. But then again, this whole first corner was also Tamburello was one just big long corner, which infamously was known in the Senna day, set in the mid 90s, unfortunately, which was then changed obviously appropriately because it was a very, very fast corner, to say the least.
Yeah, crikey, I can imagine that part being super quick. So that's where Senna died, is it? Is it you had an accident there? And again, I'm so not up to speed with that kind of crap. I probably should be.
Yeah. You gotta think of it, it was pretty much the diameter of like an oval course, like the whole first corner. So you take out basically all the corners and just make it one big long left-hander.
Yeah, right. That would be very rapid.
But yes, very formidable. Anyway, Dorata here, currently about even on his Delta now. A decent first couple of corners through Tamburello. Coming now into the second section of Variante Villeneuve. Cuts it nicely on the curve. Does lose about a 10, but you know, it's not the end of the world. Breaks it deep into the hairpin at Tosa. And just about edging equal on the personal best right now with the run up into Piratella. Very tricky corner, this one. It's a very unassuming corner, and it's all about commitment, but also about track limits.
Yeah, he's got that first and middle sector right on the money in terms of his own personal best. Just a little bit loose there on the exit of Acqua Minerale, has cost him 2 tenths on his way up here to Variante Alta. This is the one where you've got to get plenty of cut happening. We saw Neil Haynes gain a lot of time in here, but it was invalid. He's gained himself a 10th, but then kind of a little bit squirrely on exit. So again, not quite hanging on to his Delta now, and he's got to find 2 tenths into what can be a very lap-killing set of corners. And has found a little bit, but probably not enough. Still 3.5 minutes left. Not sure if he's got enough fuel in the tank, but he's got a little bit more time yet to try and improve on his current P3.
Yeah, nice to see some BMWs again as well, I'll admit. I know they're not everyone's favourite, unfortunately. That is an invalidation for Afna Nort. But nice to see some BMW again, as they are quite missing from the sprint series that we run. Haven't been taken over by all the Fords. Interesting to see how the Fords go here. I was looking at the BOP. They are surprisingly to making me wince a little bit. But seeing the Fords with -3 kilos is a little bit like, ugh, seeing how red hot we've seen that in many other racetracks. We've seen that guy in other racetracks recently. That thing needs to be. I'd be giving it way more kilos personally.
I, as a Ford driver at this track next week, am in complete disagreement. I think it's very well balanced, and I like the fact that I've beaten my personal best by about 7/10. Thank you very much. No, in all seriousness, I think you're right. I think it probably needs a few more kilos, but too late for that now. Very happy days for all of those in a Ford. The McLaren and the Lambo copying a pretty big stick here, I think, don't they? And
yeah, McLaren with 19 kilos, the most of any car. Was always a very good car around here, surprisingly. Bear in mind all the bumps and curbs that you kind of got to hop here, but was a very good car around here.
The Evo certainly was, but the old McLaren was absolutely horrible around here. As you said, curbs and bumps was never the old McLaren's friend. Oh, just a little bit of sand on the exit there for Dorado, and he's lost 10th, and that would have put him P2 and AM class. He'd be just mightily disappointed with that. Has he got the fuel? Because he's got time for one more. I hope he goes and puts this all together, because he's looked quick in a couple. Oh, never mind. There's a bit of grass there. No, he's pulled off. Maybe he hasn't got the fuel. Unlucky for Dorado. It was certainly in there. You could see in a couple of corners he had the pace. Just couldn't quite link it all up. But P3, nothing to smirk at. A lot of people in chat saying that they're surprised that there's some AMs in here in the 40s, but again, just a reminder that these are super optimum temperatures and track conditions. So if you think these AMs are fast, wait until we get into Pro-Ams and Pros. You'll be absolutely blown away, and I'm not surprised to see a couple of these strong AM performances in the 40s.
Yeah, 100%. As I said, the cars seem to get quicker and quicker year on year, and the setups get more developed and more finely tuned somewhat. Dorado and I do apologize. Afnanor have already parked it up, so second and third on the timing grid right now won't be improving, but we'll see how the rest of these guys go. 9 tenths to find for Hannah if they want to take pole, which might be a bit of a stretch, but I think they'll be very happy with just an improvement, and a small improvement will put them ahead of Lewis in the 960 Ferrari. But it will be a bit of a gap to P4 and above.
Good to see Pingu out here qualifying for his team. That's a bloody good effort. Very fast in our Formula 1 series is Corbin Hanna. And as you said, needs to find 9/10. So I sincerely doubt he's going to find that in the last two corners. But this is a pretty bloody strong performance with a 41.4 for a P6 in front of Neil Haynes and Gosling and McNulty. They're long-time OOR drivers, those fellas. So, yeah, pretty strong performance there from Pingu. Nothing to be upset with at all.
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, that lap wasn't to be. I think they went a little bit deep into Rivatsa, the first part. As we see, the Pro-Ams are already flowing out onto the track, and hopefully will not have any issues with collisions.
No, I think the race director will be just telling Pingu to politely pull over and return to garage. He certainly won't be completing that lap. And as you said, the Pro-Ams now coming out on their outlaps. Plenty of time and space they'll be giving each other, I would suggest. And now they've got 20 minutes to Spruick their wares.
Okay, and Lewis, the last AMs on the valid laps. Lewis about even. I think Kay, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. Unfortunately, both of them, I think, have come a cropper at the Variante Alta hairpin, and have only lost too much time. Ooh, Kay still got semi-close, but not going to be close enough, losing time on exit, and do a practice pit stop entry. Very deceptive here with that big bump. Yep, there we go. It is caught me out several times as that pit entry, because there's this, yeah, someone decided to put an asteroid crater in the halfway through a bit. Now, Pro-Ams. Yes.
I was just reading chat. I love chat. Chat best on ground every time we go about this, and they keep providing us with little gems. My friend and yours, Scott Rockford, rightly pointing out that the Ford BOP sort of corrects over the course of a long stint. So these 70-minute stints that we'll see in the 12-hour, the Ford certainly does eat its tyres pretty significantly and does cost it does drink a lot of fuel too. So over the sprint races, probably only 30 to 45-minute stints if you've got a pit stop in there, and it's not quite as prevalent. But in these 70-minute stint endurance races, yes, the Ford will certainly come back to the pack, and probably why the BOP isn't quite as heavy as we think it should be. But yeah, a very, very strong qualifying car for sure.
Absolutely, and yeah, maybe I'm just still reeling from last night with Silverstone and Fords, but I had my own demons to contend with. But we see Hayden Marsh here, one of our regulars, and starting their first flying lap. Couple of 10th up right now, but he hasn't really set a time, so it's not really representative of anything. Not sure what even lap it would be counting technically, but going out there, getting on it straight away, and interesting. Steve Ricciuti in Pro-Am car. That's another one that we're not used to seeing with a Pro-Am badge, but it is overall the whole team. But we'll be interested to see what he can do.
Ricciuti in the 9.0 Sofa King Slow car. They are generally in a BMW. They are again tonight. That's fair enough. Vintner and Hill and Phipps, they're all fast boys, aren't they? Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting Pro-Am car. They should be pretty strong. I'm not sure if we've got the points table that we can go and locate. I wouldn't mind seeing where a couple of these guys are in terms of the points.
I believe we do have it on the website, and Silver King Slow are currently third in Pro-Am on 92 points overall, I believe, and 13th place overall position. So in that Pro-Am fight with the two MRTs of In the Moment and Lost Our Way, which are
nice.
pretty heavy hitters, those two.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, no, certainly not incorrectly classed. If they're sitting third in Pro-Am, that's they've got the work ahead of them for the 12-hour and a solid performance. Do you reckon they've got enough points if they sort of finish well up? Can they take that Pro-Am victory with one race to go?
Oh, absolutely. You know, anything can happen, especially over a 12-hour race, and no dispels, no curses to either of these cars between them and MRT. Hope they have the best of races, but yes, definitely far from insurmountable. Believe it's 115 points for In the Moment, followed by 109 points for Lost Our Way and 92 for Super King Slow. But they are matched with 92 points by Kovacs Red.
Tell you what else I'm just noticing now is the glorious race control bot has joined us and has just posted Sasha Death's fastest lap, so he goes to the top of the board. I'll tell you what else it's also doing in the top right of your screen is showing us the corner names as we go through them. That's a bloody handy little feature that I'm not sure I've seen before, and well put into the broadcast, if you don't mind.
Yep, have been enjoying that greatly. It does help us commentary a lot as well, but it also helps fill in a little bit of knowledge, and it gives you an idea of what the corner names are. Yeah, Harsh Kumar, we know how quick Harsh Kumar is. Really bloody quick, especially in a Ferrari. And some of those AM times are still holding up there right now, but we'll see how long they last for, because we've still got 14 minutes for all these Pro-Am runners. We did see a few Pro-Ams last time around at Misano get into the top 10. People like, I think, Austin McNeil's MRT team, not really surprising. This car in particular as well, not very surprising when you bear in mind who's driving it at the top. Very, very formidable.
I'll tell you what, I am nothing but a perfectionist, so with the positives must come the negatives. We're still showing qualifying as AM in the top right of your screen. I wonder if we've got a little one that could slip that over to Pro-Am. I wonder if there's just a... because I'm a perfectionist. How dare I?
That's it. Close the broadcast down.
That's it. Close it down. He's all over it, Glenn Germain. I tell you what, it doesn't take him long and he gets all these problems sorted. Don't worry about the broadcast. He's got the servers going. He's got the entry list going. The man does everything, Glenn Germain. He is our goat. Give him all of your thanks next time you're around.
Oh dear. As Brent Sykes, another co-commentator, speaking of which, another co-commentator of cricket, and definitely going quick out there, but I think everyone's finding a little bit of traffic somewhat, and a little bit more space, but yeah, coming over the a little bit wide on exit, and as invalidated, unfortunately, even if you're invalidated, he's lost all the time he was up. Bishop here in the 277 Aston Martin, 4 attempts up, coming down into the last couple of corners, 4.5, maybe even 5, gets hopefully a good run, just about, and will hopefully catapult him all the way up the board, and should put him, I reckon, around the 10s. I was wrong, only 18, but still lots of time to improve.
Tell you what, it's going to be a big old day for this 277 Aston. It's just a two-man team of Chicanes and Bishop, so anyone who's done an endurance before knows how really taxing they can be, even with 3 or 4-man teams. And there's been plenty of teams who have done it as a 2-man before, and they all get into chat afterwards and say how bloody cooked they are for days afterwards. It is a mammoth effort to 2-man one of these races, even as a 6-hour or an 8-hour, but a 12-hour race for Chicanes and Bishop. So good luck to the Aston boys.
Yep, absolutely. I'm pretty done if I have to ever do a double stint. I generally need a quick break after that one. I was already shattered by the end of our whole race last night in the 90 minutes at Silverstone. So yeah, it's pretty tough, and got to enjoy it now while it is still relatively cool here in the big Lounge Down Under, because once summer comes around, those endurances get even harder.
Yeah, for sure. And I reckon we're going to have a 24-hour in the middle of summer. I can't wait for that one. Around about December or something, there'll be another 24-hour that just comes our way. And if, as you said, if it's hot, especially up Queensland way, it's just... Babby's in a fridge. He set himself up in a fridge. There's a couple of guys who have got insulated, air-conditioned, all sorts of whiz-bang. The bloody setups cost more than their computers sometimes. And that's, as you said, when it gets hot, it gets hot.
Absolutely. And it is impressive to see those setups, but you have to bear in mind, for every one of those setups, I reckon there's about at least 5 or 10 guys who just have like a $10 Kmart fan, and that's all they get. And they're just gonna stay hydrated. Best thing you can do. Even if you're not sim racing, stay hydrated, rehydrate, drink more water, because none of us pretty much drink as much as we should do. Jay Sweeney now in the Triple J Aston Martin. And currently 5.5 attempts off pole right now, provisional pole I should say, 2 tenths up, good exit on so far, should put him up to around where Gerato is in P7, and hopefully can find a little bit more time with 10 minutes left for Pro-Am.
Yep, 40.8, not bad from Jay. I was in the practice server with him before. I reckon he's got around about a 40.4 in him, if he can put it all together. So, as you said, still 10 minutes to go. He'll be looking to improve. One thing I have noticed with the Pro-Ams here, there was a fair bit of traffic that Bishop and Cricky were stuck in before. I know Cricky pulled over and tried to find himself a gap, but you can see on the track map there are some very, very big spaces full of absolutely no one. And then there are other parts of the track that have quite a lot of traffic in them. So the M classes all managed to find their own space, but the Pro-Ams here just not really managing, to find themselves a good deal of space. And it's not like there's not enough time, and it's a nice big track. So hopefully they can sort themselves out, because the last thing you want to do is get stuck in traffic for the whole 20 minutes and not put together your best lap.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. That's why sometimes I like to let everyone go out and wait for them to get halfway around the track, and then I'll go out at the start of qualifying sessions. But we should go to Brooke now. Was about 8 attempts up, dropped down to about 7, probably dropped down to at least 6, but that was looking like a really strong lap from this BMW driver. Coming now, wrong the line. Should put him around P5. Oh, only P10. That shows how close it is. The margins for the gaps between all these qualifiers is insanely close these days. With the LFM bump and the setups, it is really easy to get caught out by a few measly couple of tenths.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It also helps that ACC only calculates 4 of the possible 9 decimal places in its times. That you'll notice there's only zeros and 5s and 8's a new one. Hang on, that used to be a 7. There's a 2, 4, 8 there. Tom, where's Tom Maloney? I swear that used to be a 7. It used to be 0, 5, 7, and there's never used to be an 8, Tom Maloney. What are we doing there? Anyway, there's not many decimal places. You'll never see a 2, and you'll never see. I'm gonna give up. I'm not sure. I can't remember what they were.
I think you're also reading the gap between that and the pole time, which would actually make it a 5 at 8. But anyway, we'll leave it at that. There's a reason why the delta only calculates to 2 decimal places, because he did used to calculate to 3, but as I said, he always gets it relatively wrong. But we'll leave ACC deltas alone for at least tonight. We'll bring that discussion up, I'm sure, another day. It could be improved. Unfortunately, I think this is one of the tracks where it is a little bit deceptive. Somewhat. Retrudy here, starting a fresh lap, was a little bit up, but electing to start afresh. And
he was 2 tenths up until he was 2 tenths up until he found the sand on the end of the last corner there, and 2 tenths would have been good enough for poles. He'd be a bit disappointed with that. That sand on the exit of 18 of Ragazzo is really nasty, and it's just caught him out there. He was 2.5, nearly 3 tenths up. And just threw it all away. He'd be disappointed with that. And indeed is pulling over, and he's going to have to go for one more run. He's got 6.5 minutes. There is still enough time. So the time's definitely in there.
Yeah, good to do it now. 6 minutes will give you enough time for you to get those tyres. To get the best out of those tyres. If it's around 4 minutes, you're not really getting the fully warm second run set, I found. But yes, unfortunately, Imola has been privy to being a little bit of a curb. I like to call it curb RNG, because it is just a little bit random how your car is going to react to other curbs, especially through the first set of corners. And obviously, some cars that do handle the curbs better generally have a better chance of not being catapulted into a space program. Hence why the AMGs and generally all the front engine cars have gone well here, to say the least. But that said, the Ferraris, the McLarens, even the Porsches are not slow at all around here. They may not use the curb as much, but they find their time in different places. There's a fastest lap now for Sasha Steph to improve on their time to a 140.382. And you see Grant Begg now in the Ford Mustang, which is quite unusual to see because you normally see him in a black-wrapped monster McLaren half the time. I have seen him in BMW actually now, to say that. But currently 4 tenths up on his lap time. Going to be crossing across the line just about now. Or he has crossed the line. It's gone up to P13, I should say. And a little bit more time to find in that one for sure. 5 minutes on the clock still.
As you said before, a couple of these AM class times are really holding up nicely. It's Tim Procell currently still sitting in P3, less than 2 tenths off the top time. And Arnaf Noor, also in the 888 vehicle, is currently P7. Those two AM boys. And there's another one there. There's P9 as well as an AM class driver. So those AM class times really holding up nicely here amongst the Pro-Ams.
Yeah, a few of those top AM times were definitely... I think some of them were quite. I think the top 4 of the AM class were about a couple of 2 to 3 tenths quicker than the rest of the AM runners. So it might have been a little bit of a field split between the AM class. But yeah, holding up very well. We did see this a little bit in Misano as well. People like I think Chris Albert was in the AM class as well. Were, let's just say, at the top, well into Pro-Am and somewhat into Pro as well. And yeah, going to be very interesting to see it. It's a shame that we don't have Austin McNeil in that 700 Mustang, will say, because he put on a great show last time around at Misano in qualification, but also just like we've seen how on a run of form Austin has been, definitely worthy of his pro promotion lately, and it would be great to see what he could have produced in that Mustang. But no, taking nothing away from Grant Begg as well. That's a very, very fast car. But speaking of fast forwards, we have Brent Sykes right now on a 1:40.6 time, only 2/10 off provisional pole, which is a cracking effort from Brent, and definitely still looking good to find some more times and possibly improve his position.
Absolutely. We're talking before about the front engine cars being particularly strong here. The BMW, I think, might be the strongest. 4 of the top 8, and 2 of those in AM class are BMWs. So clearly a very strong car here. And we watched, was it Neil Haynes before, go over the last chicane, and looked like it was really comfortable over there, even on an invalid chicane, which he took probably too much of the sausage of. It just looks super comfortable over there. So not only a strong qualifying car, the BMW, but will obviously be very good over a race stint as well. That's invalid for Sykes. Unlucky. He didn't have much in the bank, so he was probably just not quite going to make an improvement. But he's got enough time left for 1, probably 2 laps. By the time he gets around, he'll cross with 1:40 to go and may be able to get 2 more in if he's got enough fuel.
Yeah, shame there for Brent. Just probably pulled the car up a little bit too early and took too much of the inside curb, which then spat him out wide into the invalidation. If it wasn't invalid, it was unfortunately lost all the time. It's very much, a lot of these corners are all about their exits. Nothing to take away from the mid-corner part of the the art of it, but there's a lot of a lot of these corners are quite spaced out, so there's a decent amount of straight for you to gain and lose time depending on your exit. So it is very critical around here. I dare say this is one of the hardest qualifying tracks. But that's just my take anyway. But Dylan McDowd now in the 500 car, going off in the Porsche. Did a decent run, 2 to 3/10 up, coming down into Ravazza. Should get pulled up on the brakes nicely in the Porsche. Probably one of the nicer cars through these last few corners, whereas everything wants to kind of generally understeer. A little bit of a curb hop, but hasn't affected him too badly. Should be about 3/10 across the line. Should put him up a decent amount of positions into, let's say, P16, I'd wager. And there we are, bang on the money. P16, just behind Bishop.
Very good shout from you. Very good prediction. Bang on 16. Very nice. 38 cars qualifying this evening. And Stefano Ricciuti, we did say he's got it in him, and he's only gone and done it. 40.212 is your new best lap for the Sofa King Slow BMW entry. Nice work, Stefano.
Yep. Clearly hasn't been cursed by the Italian gods for abandoning his beloved Lamborghini too much. But going very well in the BMW, and if they quicken one car, they apparently quicken everything. But the BMW going on strong, still finding time in his lap, and a little bit good run through the hairpin as well. Not too bad on the exit, getting about half a 10th somewhat overall. Coming now into Piratella, gets it deep on the brakes, turns it in, wants to motion, get early on the power, not too wide to invalidate. Good, another half 10th there as well. Coming now down into Acre Minerali, sort of ballerina dance of getting it right, turned in, braking late, and it is good from the BMW driver of Stephen Ricciuti. Now into Variante Alta, gets it nicely tucked in on the first bar, very good, not too much body help, but unfortunately has compromised the exit a little bit, as he didn't really get the second part to his liking, but still up on this last run, and this will be the last run for all our Pro-Ams. Gets it stopped now into the last corner, still up on his time, coming around the final corner, all the exits. Does he clip the grass? No. What is going on there? Was that
What is happening there?
And he's still A100s up despite the gymnastics of another BMW, and he's got to improve his lap time to 1:40.147 for Stefano Ricciuti.
That's the AM class BMW. They're not even qualifying at the moment. That's Arf Noor. That's Arnaf Noor. He's supposed to be in the pit lane. He's supposed to be sitting in the box, and he's just out there dancing on the pit wall. Wow, that was a bit of a shock, wasn't it?
Yeah, what's he doing? How's he?
What exactly? He's supposed to be sitting. What is he even doing out there?
Believe that is, unless that was that maybe the Kovacs Rec car. It's the 91 car. I was gonna say.
Okay, all right, never mind. I saw on the track map potentially. I might be
Go
wrong.
for
I'm
it
just calling
off
what I
now,
was.
nor under the bus if it wasn't it. We're not that cruel.
Oh dear. No, great work, Stefano Ricciuti. Nearly into the 39s there. Had a really good run down into Ravazza 1 and was up 2/10 on his 40.2 and then just lost a little bit coming out of the last corner, Ravazza 2. So ends up with the 3 fastest sectors and a 40.1. That's a bloody great effort from Stefano Ricciuti. Sasha Death is P2 for the MRT boys. That's another two-man team, so it'll be a big old day for them. 40.382, nothing to scoff at. And that lap from Tim Procell sitting there in overall P3 at the moment is a very strong effort. Nice work to the 121 BMW and Tim Purcell.
Absolutely. Look at the mid sector from Ricciuti that was pretty much 2/10 quicker than everyone else. But now I don't think that's going to last too long because now the pros are out. The real pros, the full pro teams, and they're headed up by Matthew Lamb. I'm very, very excited to see what he can produce, as well as this man, Tom Maloney, in the Peppa Pig Porsche. And these Porsche drivers should go really well here, I'm hoping, and give us some, barnstorming times.
Will a 40.1 make the shootout? That's a bloody good question, Benny Vintner. I would have said yes coming into the event, but seeing the times up there from Stefano and Sasha Death, they, I don't know, these pros, man, I don't know what we're going to, honestly don't know what we're going to see now. If we're going to get really deep into the 39s, how many are going to go into the 39s? Are we going to see a 38 in the next 16 minutes? I don't know, mate. I really don't know.
Yeah, it's really tough to call. And there's your 40.0 straight away. The first lap, the out lap, not necessarily out lap, but the banker. Unfortunately, that is an invalidation for Tom Maloney. Not really be able to represent what he was currently on because he didn't have a previous time to benchmark. But yes, Stephen Tyne now in there. Oh, there we go. There's our first 39. Chris Cooley already on it. Not mucking about in any way of these pros. Straight into the 39s. I think we'll get to those 39 ones, 38. I believe we can, but we shall see.
We got 15 minutes of wetting our pants in front of us here, Cam. This is going to get really nasty. 39.8 on his banker lap for Chris Cooley. That is quite incredible. And Matt Lamb will see that. These two competitive beasts up the top here, they'll be absolutely trading blows here. So strap in, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be proper cooking now.
Yeah, as they come now into the Variante Alto, good cut on the first part, good cut on the second cut, and keeps the momentum up somewhat, coming up onto his time 14 hundredths up on his current time, breaking in late for the last corner, gains a lot in the last part of the penultimate corner, and here now on the run to the straight, 3 temps up. This is easily going to be a, dare say, a 39.7 if the mask comes out, and he doesn't even shorten the line run. He's already thinking about the next lap. He doesn't care about this lap. He knows he's got it done already with 39.687, and he's looking to go quicker again with his long run on down to the straight for this next lap. Chris Cooley now going to be invalid on this lap, doesn't matter, and will be starting his fresh new time.
Wonder what Stevie Tyre's capable of in this GTR too. That this is the first time I've ever seen GTR plus weight. I think it's carrying an extra 3 kilos here. So it's very, very, very rare to see the Nissan positive weight with the BOP. So clearly a very quick car here, a very comfortable car here. And he was in the super duper low 40s in the practice server as well. So to see him already with a 40.1 and 2 tenths up on that already, you know, he's capable of getting in the 39s as well in this GTR.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it'll be like the GTR is very quick here naturally before even the BOP. Just a lot of acceleration zones, and plus a few hills here and there, especially like up here. Just that little incline coming up can be the big difference between a naturally aspirated car and one like this one with it's a big old whacking great set of turbos on it. Look at the big curve hop he's able to take over the chicane. Generally, not the GTRs. It's not too friendly sometimes on its curb hops, but it has been improved since they raised the collision, the floor collision, and there's returned on form, as JC will well know as well, overall throughout the calendar. Currently though, 1/10 up for the GTR. I'm not sure if he'll have enough in this car to fight for pole. Nothing to discredit against Stephen Ty, but I think the GTR is quick, but it doesn't have the edge over the single lap that some of the cars have. But definitely one to watch.
No, as you said, no discredit to Stevie Ty, but we've got some... Well, what's he got? 39.4.
Humbling.
With 12 minutes to go. It's unbelievable pace. Absolutely incredible car control. You can't do that with 1 foot, that's for sure. Peach in chat rightly pointing out that Keck he's extremely fast everywhere we go. He's demonstrated that in the sprint series. Look at the slip angle he's got going through there. Absolutely on the edge of grip he is. But yeah, Cooley's put so much time into this for SRO that he'd know this track like the back of his hand, and he's a very strong Aston Martin driver. It's his favourite car. So yeah, if anyone's going to get a 38, it'll be him for sure. But as I said, Matt Lamb will be looking to chase him down as well. He's got 3/10 and just misses out on some of it as he comes through the final chicane there. So again, more time still in this lap for Matt Lamb, but he'll happily bank these 2 laps and these 2/10 and match Cooley's 39.4 if he can get these last couple of corners right, and he does. Into Ravazza 1, and just a little bit wide there for Ravazza 2. You can see he just missed the apex, so he'll only get a 10th shaved off of his 39.7. Sorry, 39.6. We'll take him down to a 39.5.
Yep, looking to get the car stopped and for an episode time. Callum Gibbo, one of our regulars and great people around in OR, race directing, doing everything, all behind the scenes. 3/10 up on his current lap. Should put him around, P5 there, big jump. But, I think there's a little bit of a tier split as well here in the pro class, as we've got very quick people and then we've got the aliens. The aliens of Cooley, Lamb, and they include Stephen Ty, but Ritudi's time still holding strong up right now. We'll be interested to see. Obviously, anyone who's not familiar with this series, like we've got our top 10 from this session, we'll make up our shootout straight after this one, and will be out lap. Then you get 2 timed laps for each individual car, all to yourself, and we'll be watching with stay intent. It'll be the big pressure cooker that is a traditional shootout.
Shootouts haven't failed to disappoint. Sorry, haven't failed to excite us. They have certainly not disappointed in the first 2 races at Monza and Misano. So you would expect it to be no different here at Imola. And yeah, especially can't wait for obviously the top. So, a bit too much of that one and a bit too much of that one. So he's put that in the wall. He'll have to go again. He'll be very happy too, I'm sure. Yeah, the first 8 times we see for the shootout will be pretty close, you would suggest. Not too much more than a 10th or 2 between them. But then once we get down to those final 2 times, you would expect Cooley and Lamb to really get the gloves off there and absolutely send it as hard as they can. Those 2 guys, good friends as well, so some beers will be shared after the shootout. But before that, as I said, it'll be hotly contested at the end of that shootout between those 2.
Yep. Cutting out to Tom Maloney. Currently 2/10 up on his lap, and to think that he is 1.4 off pole doing a 40.8 is crazy enough in my eyes, since that half my lap times internally in my head are all from 2021. So anything below a 40 was just unimaginable back then. But definitely not in this current day, and I think we might get those 38s is a scary thought indeed. It is starting to flatten out a little bit. They kind of find the edges. Tom going into the Variante Alpha, getting a little bit squirrely on exit, unfortunately. Is losing those 2 tenths, is losing all the momentum. P20 right now, and really should be in that top 10. We know what he can do. It is just putting the whole lap together, but it's so easier said than done.
Yeah, he's going to be pulling into the pit lane, putting some fresh boots on, and he's going to have to send it pretty hard. Tell you what, that time from Kellen Gibbons is standing up nicely. I'm pretty bloody happy with that. Gibbo, nice one. Wonder if he's got any more under the belt. Cook here is another one who's probably a little bit out of place. He'll be looking to improve on this 40.6. But again, as you said before, Cam, I can't imagine myself doing much more than a 40.6. To see that down here in the P14, it's just incredible how fast these fellas are going. You either get this track or you don't. And yeah, there's some who have really got it hooked up tonight. And yeah, a couple of really big, fast names who are currently sitting outside the top 10, let alone outside the top 5.
Yeah, indeed. Like, yeah, there's some crazy out there. And yeah, Brad Cook, we know how quick Brad Cook is. And you know what, how quick he has been, even in this this new machinery that is the Mustang, that he's adopted well to it. Definitely, not sure if he is still leading split green, I believe. And yeah, it will be interesting to see, but definitely worthy of a top 10. 6 tenths up, surely this will be a cemented, maybe even touching on 7 tenths, and that will put him up to straight up to P3 for Brad Cook with 39.980 in the Mustang.
Absolutely nailed Variante Alta. Picked up 4 tenths on his previous best there. So we said that he had 40.6, and it was surprising that that's where all that time was. He picked up 4 tenths in the last chicane, and then another 2 tenths down into 17 and 18, which, as Pete said before, can be absolute lap killers. You've gone and put all of the chicanes together, you've done all the hard work, and then what should be 2 reasonably unassuming, easy corners can really absolutely throw all sorts of the laps out. So the second last corner, being Ravazza 1, is downhill and pretty tricky braking zone, very easy to lock the brakes up there, and then turn 18 with that sand just waiting and inviting on the outside of the last corner. 2 corners that can really murder your lap, but Cookie absolutely nailed them. And as you said, into P3 now, shaving into the 39s. Very nice. How about this from Matt Lamb as he comes down to the last 2 corners? He's got 4 tenths in him, which is going to go very close to a 39.1, probably just 39.2, but how about that? A 39.2, if you don't mind, from Matt Lamb. He has just gone and put it on provisional pole. 39.170. Goodness gracious.
I was going to say, he had a mega run through Variante Alta and cut it perfectly to the point where he carried enough speed that the car didn't get upset, and did a great job. But Cooley will see that. Cooley will respond. Currently dead set even on his Delta so far through Tamburello, and now coming into Villeneuve, cutting the corners nicely. 1 tenth up. The Aston Martin, to be honest, has always been in very strong platform here at this track. You know, it is front engined, it is pretty compliant, but also now with the BOP, it's been allowed to unleash its speed a little bit more lately. And coming now into Piratella, nicely done on the exit, carrying. It is just all about carrying so much speed, using every bit of inch track, braking as late as you can into this section, to the point where you get the line just right for the uphill curve. And now into the deal breaker, the Variante Alta, very late, carries all the speed in, too much speed, unfortunately, invalidated on the second part of the corner, and has, unfortunately, invalid this lap. 4 minutes left to go. Will he stop to take a fresh set, or will he continue for the next couple of laps on these tyres?
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough time to get those tyres warmed up, and I think that was his first lap on that set of tyres. It was fitting that Matty Lamb posted that 39.1, and then as he pulled over to return to pits, it was Cooley who passed him. So he would have seen, as he came over the start-finish line, that 39.1 go up on the timing tower, and then had to respond. And you can see the delta going up and down in Cooley's lap as he rounded each corner. So there's plenty of time in it if he can hook it up. But as you said, there's so much commitment involved in getting all the the speed through the corners here. So I think Cooley's got a really nice time in him, but can he hook it up? This is a nice little lap here from Lunchbag, who's currently 2/10 up, and that'll be enough to send him inside the top, maybe even the top 5 if he can get another 10th in the last corner or two. And in fact, he has, as he sends it through Variante Alta there. So a nice little lap from Chris Murphy here in the works.
Yeah, very good lap. Good run through the chicane. Good exit date for the Rivazza. Last couple of corners, 4 attempts up, touching, and here we now onto the last one. Is looking very, very good to very much cement his place in the shootout. Going up to the line, I dare say maybe about P5 we're wagering. P6 for Chris Murphy, a hair off P5 in Rashidi. Out, resident AM driver Tim Purcell has been displaced from the top 10, so he will not make the shootout. And I believe Mohen Taufik, I apologize, is right on that top 10 cusp. A little bit surprising to see. I think we'll yet to see the best from Taufik.
Honestly, if I was Purcell, I'd be pretty happy with that. That's honestly the ideal. I can't deal with the pressure of a shootout. So just to know that I'd be like sitting P11, I've done the best I can, and it's been good enough to just sit me outside the top 10 and not have to deal with the shootout. I reckon that's ideal areas for Purcell. He's done beautifully.
Absolutely, indeed. Leo Dreyer here. We haven't got too many McLarens, I believe, to be honest, in this, especially not in the pro class. And he's going well so far in P9, finding a little bit of time on this lap, and will go around for at least 2 more runs if he has the fuel and if he has the best out of the tires. And he's setting himself up. Yep, they all swing out wide to the left-hand side of the track to try and straight line across the line as much as possible, carrying not having to barely turn the wheel and scrub the microseconds of speed off. And coming now over Tambriella, McLaren pretty quick, not too great over the curves like you said, and going well so far.
Tell you what, is one McLaren that that's pretty messy there on the exit there, but he's still held on to his Delta, so clearly his personal best has got some more time in it. One McLaren that is missing tonight is Tonk, the Red Rebel Racing boys, Tonk and Hurley and Merrick. Tonk, very, very strong performance at Misano. I think he was in the shootout, was he not, in that McLaren? Yep. So I don't think I've seen him here this evening. I wonder if the Red Rebel boys are racing, or if they've already qualified with someone other than Tonk. I may have missed it. My apologies.
Yep, the 512 car. I swear I saw that number out at some point. I'm not too certain, but I might just be imagining that. But yes, they did a great job. They were in the top 10. There we are. 512 Hurley in the Pro-Am car. So yeah, they were one of those Pro-Am cars, and Tonkin definitely showing pro pace here and there, obviously, but isn't here tonight.
Rode alien pace at Misano. Didn't he qualify P3? Like in the shootout, it was one of the first qualifiers, and he put a time up that didn't get beaten until Lamb or Brett or one of the launcher house guys. It was a crazy lap from Tonkin.
Yeah, a really quick lap from Tonkin. I do remember that, and I think I said at the time he seems to have found more fortune in the McLaren than the Lamborghini that he drives all the time, because he loves that Lamborghini, but he's hasn't been able to really kind of match some of that results since that Imola qualifying.
Right, this is it, Ken. This is the final lap. Cooley has got a 10th in the bag here. Matt Lamb is in the pits, the queuers of the rack, and there's no one else out there either. Cook, Ty, Ricciuti, Murphy, Gibbons, Death. That's your top 8 at the moment. Cooley is the last man on a lap, and a nice entry into Variante Alta, but just got a little bit crossed up on the exit. So unfortunately not able to get the power down. As you said, it can be very RNG, these chicanes, and the curb gods not quite smiling on Keckers on that occasion. So not going to be able to pinch P1 on this occasion, but there is still the shootout. So not all lost yet.
Tom Maloney only gets up to P20. Oh no. Oh, and now it's going to be one of the championship leaders, one of our cars that's always been in contention, unfortunately going to be out and won't make shootout. That is really unfortunate for the car, 191 car.
I don't think they'll be too disappointed with that. Tom is a very competitive man, and he might be upset with himself, but it is a 12-hour race, and I can guarantee you that Purple Pig car, come next week, will be on the podium at a minimum by the end of that 12 hours. They are an extremely strong team, so I don't think they'll be too concerned with starting down there.
Yeah, very unfortunate. And as much as Cooley was probably frustrated not being able to get that lap together, if you're already into the shootout, this session is irrelevant somewhat from now, because it won't make up the top 10 on the grid. Well, it will for the rest of the grid, but the order is still yet to be decided. But yes, unfortunately for Cooley, not that I'm saying that I know what's going to be the quicker line through Variante Alta, but it looked like he was. In comparison to Lamb, he was carrying more speed into the corner, which meant he was always just compromised on the exit a little bit, and was just didn't have the run, because that's the thing. Like you kind of have to sacrifice the first part to get a good run on the second part, because it is a long run from Variante Alta all the way down to Rivazza.
Have a look at that middle sector for Matt Lamb. No one else in the 31s, and he's gone and done a 31.7 in the middle sector. So that's where all the time was for Matty Lamb.
Can change direction so quickly in some of those corners. It really pays dividends.
So we are going to take a couple of minutes of a quick break, and we'll get the service changed over for the shootouts. So go and put the kettle on. It is Friday evening. If you've got to have yourself a coffee, go and do so, because you get to sleep in tomorrow. We'll catch you back here in a few minutes' time.
Welcome back, everyone. Hey,
Welcome back. Welcome back.
You me?
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
We are on for our shootout here of our top 10, and first out is Taufik. So yeah, outlap and then 2 flying runs for everybody. Gonna be very interesting to see what happens. But yes, few outliers. I think Vintner's probably the. I think it says Vintner, but that will be Stefano Ricciuti in that car. So ignore some of these names that have been different. It will reset once they cross the timing lines, I believe. But yeah, very interesting to see who comes out on top. It's really gonna.
Stuff that. Make Babby do qualifying. He's on one arm. Just make him do it.
Yep.
Come on, Taufik. Let's see what he's got. He's a very balanced driver in this Ferrari, and he's just picked up a little bit of aggression this season too, and has just made some moves that have really taken me by surprise in the Sprint Series. A very opportunistic one last night where he sort of Hamiltoned his way through at Silverstone. So a very adept driver. Currently doing some. Look, I'm probably going to get a stiff word for this, but I think he's enrolled in a real life Porsche drivers series of some description. So that shows you how fast the man is in real life and in the sim. So just getting his tyres warmed up now as he comes down into the Ravazzas, and let's see what he can do here as the first driver in the Italian job round 3 Imola shootout.
Yep. I believe our only Ferrari in the top 10. Plus 5 kilos for this car, so maybe a little bit blunted, but we know the Ferrari's party piece is on the Sunday, not the proverbial Saturday, even though it is a Friday qualifying for us. But yes, always makes its best performance, and its party tricks is on race day. A little bit wide on the first part of Tamburello, but decent lap so far. Ignore the invalidation, that's just ACC bug things. And coming now into Variante Villeneuve, cuts the first one, but can't really cut the curbs as much as the front engine cars can, but they generally carry a little bit more mid-corner speed. Now getting it turned in now for Tosa, and the run up to Piratella, the Ferrari's TC working its magic.
It is a really good TC system. He looked really good coming out of Tosa there. Very planted, very early on the throttle, so yeah, the Ferrari very well balanced. As you said, a lot of mid-corner speed and a nice send here. And just missing that apex there. I don't know whether that's invalid. I don't know whether we're going to see whether that was invalid until we get to the start-finish line, but that looked maybe a little bit wide there on the exit of Variante Alta. Sorry, Acqua Minerale.
Yeah, and I think it was really on the money as well at Piratella. I think it'll be okay at Variante Alta. It's you can go over a little bit more than you think. Gets it stopped now for Ravazzas at the end of the track. A very steady lap so far. I think some drivers like to kind of just get the banker in for this first lap and then really pull all the stops out for the second one, because they know they'll have the better temperature in the tires. But 41.4 first lap. It's a decent banker. It's hard to call a lap like that's not exemplary, but I think that's just the nature of the competition these days, because it's still a damn quick time overall.
Yeah, plenty of time left in it too, though. You did see, especially in this first sector, he left a lot on the table in terms of mid-corner speed, and on the exits didn't use all the curves. But in this occasion there, as you said, just absolutely sending it mid-corner speed of the Ferrari through there. In fact, he got a little bit too much, and you can see the rear end just step out on him a little bit. But another nice Tosa there, and a nice mid-corner, an easy planted exit. So he's back up to 3/10 on the board now as he comes up to Piratella.
Nicely turned in. Still good amount of time up, and it's interesting that he was using TC7 for the first sector and then drops it down to TC6 for the remainder of this lap through Acqua Minerale. Good run on the exit. Finding a little bit of time, but not finding a huge amount. We're not too sure if these conditions are pretty much exactly the same as what we had for qualifying beforehand. A little bit wide on the entry and a little bit compromised on the exit a little bit. He was a little bit afraid, or just either went a bit too deep. He didn't cut the first part enough, and loses a little bit of time. Coming now down to Ravazzas, gets it stopped nicely. gets it turned in, just hovering around the 3.5 attempts up, comes across the last corner. We're powering down to the line with V6 twin turbos, singing along nicely, hugs the wall as much as it can to take the shortest possible line, crosses the timing beam for a 140.015 for Moyen Taufik. A decent effort overall, but we'll see how the rest stack up.
Yep, and the next of the rest is Leo Dreyer, the car 70 McLaren representing the Mosaic Motorsport team. Himself, Hill, and Johnston, all very fast drivers, those three fellas. So Leo Dreyer out here, going to make them proud. As I said, second one to have a stab at the shootout. Rounds the final bend of his outlap and starts one of two possible hot laps. Running it nice and wide and then carrying all the speed over the start-finish straight down into what is apparently turn one, that I disagree with, but anyway, down into turn two, which is actually turn one, Variante Temporello, and taking plenty of the curbs there, so the McLaren more than happy to ride them and keep the pace up. So a pretty good little first couple of corners there from Leo. But as you said rightly before, Cam, just looking for a banker here, so probably won't be pushing the limits too much, especially with the tyre pressures and the temperatures not quite up to their optimum levels. But this is a nice tidy start for Leo.
Very nice and smooth on the inputs. And comes across and lines it up right on the entry. And good run so far. Yeah, very, very measured driving so far. Definitely not really hammering the car into the corners as fast as it possibly goes. Oh, a little bit unset on the curb. But that said, though, it hasn't really cost him any time. Just a little bit of composure. But he still got the car stopped and turned in perfectly for the second part of the Aqua Minerale. Gets it nicely stopped somewhat for him. A little bit wide on the exit and just escapes clobbering those curves, which could bounce the car and force the TT to cut in and just kill all the momentum down to this run into the Rabatzas. The downhill braking of that corner is very deceptive, and your brakes are already struggling a little bit from the last couple of corners, so you do have to take a little bit of margin with them. Coming now across the line, ignore the delta right now, ignore the invalidation. We'll see what Leo has banked in him. A 141.042, just 2.5 hundredths off Brian Taufik. So he definitely, I think he knows he's got the measure of that. But I think, would he even be looking at Taufik's time? I think he'll just be focusing on what the best he can possibly do. And dare say, the McLaren is definitely, I think, the stronger car for single lap pace over the Ferrari.
Yeah, that much is true, for sure. And he's definitely sending it now. He's had a couple of, in fact, just took a little bit of sand there, which is a little bit suboptimal on the exit of Variante Villeneuve, but a nice toeser there. Saw him gain a little bit on entry and on exit. So that's how you know that the tyres have warmed up and they're ready to go. Now, there was a lot of time lost, I reckon, as we got through Aqua Minerale. So let's see if he can clean that up this time with a bit of an extra send on the entry here. And then the curb not upsetting him this time, and that'll set him nicely for the exit. And he does, in fact, gain a little bit on the mid, but was probably a little bit cautious on the exit and just lost out a little bit. Still holding on to 2/10 as he comes up to Variante Alta here. And he got it really nicely done last time, and this time as well. Looked like it was okay, but it seemed to get pretty upset there on the exit, and a bit of extra bouncing. As we said, it can be very RNG, a little random number generation, not playing favours into Leo Dreyer there, but still two corners to make up a little bit of time here and get back on a provisional pole if he can. He's got enough now. Oh, that looked like a very shallow entry into the last corner and has compromised his exit, so he is bleeding time as he comes down to the line now, and you would suggest that he's probably not going to improve, and in fact does not, only just missing out on improving, but still a very respectable 41.042 for Leo Dreyer.
Yep, just a little bit unlucky there on that lap, just didn't manage to tie it all together for Leo, and will be sitting nicely so far. You'll see where he stacks up, definitely not done yet, 8 more runners to go. And Sasha Def being our next to start their flying lap. Very formidable. I forget this is the other Ferrari having this split. And definitely the one that is looking a little bit quicker overall, we'll say, over the 711, and we'll see what Sasha Depp can prove in. It's interesting, the differences between, they do take a lot of curb on that second part. I was going to say that's what the front engines like to take. They like to hop the whole thing, and the mid engines not necessarily as much, but not stopping Sasha Depp at all. And they're coming now up to the run into Piratella using TC5 instead of Taupik's TC7 and 6. So very interesting to see. Definitely one of the few cars that actually requires some TC to stop it revving up so much. And coming now through Aquaminerale, decent run. It's very hard to tell without a delta, but it's looking good so far and going well.
He's running 5 TC on his lap. We were watching 2Fig before running 6 and 7 TC, so a little bit of a different philosophy here for Sasha, and he's looked pretty hooked up on this first lap here. Just looked a little bit more aggressive than both 2Fig and Drea, so I would expect a pretty sharp time here. In fact, could potentially go quickest on his first lap, which would suggest that he's got a really strong time in him once those tyres get up to temperature. Let's see what he can manage as he comes across the line here for the first time. In fact, he seems like he's pretty happy with it because he's not trying to open up for the next one. And he is, indeed. He is 7 tenths clear at the top on his first lap. So that's a great opening lap from Sasha Depp.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's just definitely a little bit more, a little bit more movement in the wheel when we watch Sasha Depp driving. Whereas, Taufik has a very smooth style, I will say, which definitely kind of rewards him in different other places. But Sasha's always been very good in qualifying, and dare say their driving style maybe conducive to that. Gets it nicely stopped into Tosa, good run early on the power. TC working its magic, about even on what they were last time around. Coming out up to Piratella, holding it in 4th, dropped down to 2nd early on the power. Maybe didn't carry as much speed as they possibly could have, and lost a bit of time now. Tips it in for Aquaminerale, tips it in again for the second part, gets it to run up the hill somewhat, and just about even so far. So coming down now to the chicane where it's make or break, tips in nicely, and what of a big of a bump, and unfortunately that's going to kill all the momentum down into Ravazza, unfortunately. So they're going to be 1 tenth down, so it's really down to whether they've got enough in hand to make up these last few. Oh no, but they clip the grass on the entry, and it's going to go deep. It's going to escape the gravel, but it's day done. 7 tenths, 8 tenths now over, but still provisional P1.
A 40.3 on her first lap has really set her up nicely, though, so wouldn't be too disappointed with that second lap. You could see she was absolutely throwing it into the apexes, just trying to find extra tenths, and they weren't really appearing either, which sort of suggests that that first lap was super strong. So if you've ever done a qualifying for session in OOR before, you'll know how nerve-wracking it can be to be out there on your own, not having any focus on you for 20 minutes. So amp that up times 10 in these shootouts. You've got 2 laps to do your very best. There's not much more pressure that can be put on you. These shootouts are incredibly stressful. So the fact that Sasha went out there and put that out on her first lap, absolutely cold as ice for that first lap. So nice work with a 40.6 for Sasha Depp. 40.3, I think it was, sorry.
Yep, some drivers prefer not to dilly-dally and like to just attack from the straight, from the beginning, not necessarily kind of rely on just doing a banker and then improving on the second lap. They just, some people prefer to just, be on it from the word go, and got Gibbo now on there, starting their first flyer. Gibbo, very good job as well to get into this top 10. We don't see him race too often these days with all his race directing and all the things that he does behind the scenes too much. But great to see him behind the wheel and showing that he's no slouch at all.
Yeah, absolutely. We only bring him out of his coffin for enduros at the moment. He used to do the sprint series, but he's, as you said, he's just too busy with other bloody things. He's a maniac in real life. He's in the tunnels, and he's an engineer, and he's earning $100 million a week, being one of Melbourne's most important men building and infrastructure. And I don't know, he's a wizard. So. Yeah, very, very busy with his time, but still manages to come in here and, as I said, is race director for Split Blue and is a very strong contributor to the community. So we absolutely love Callum Gibbons, and he was surprised. He took himself by surprise just getting in here. He said, I don't know where that lap came from, and here I am in a bloody shootout. What the hell am I supposed to do? Because we've just thrown him in the car here tonight, and he's absolutely delivered by putting it in the shootout. So yeah, we said to him, whatever you get here, Gibbo, is all good. If you send it and finish P10, we're happy with that. This first lap's looked pretty bloody tidy. I don't know what it's going to be, but it looked very tidy, so yeah, we certainly can't be disappointed. The Gibbo train, why have I never thought of that? Cricky. That's a great call. A 41-1 is not a bad start from Gibbo. He's currently P4, but I reckon he'll send it through the first sector here and probably pick up a 10th or two, and he's looking very strong in this Ford Gibbo.
Yep. Doing a very good job out there. Now I'll take over the microphone as I think JC doesn't want to commentary curse his compatriot too much. And going over at 1/10 up so far, 2/10, 3/10 up.
Oh, look at the delta.
4/10 up. It must have been quite conservative into the hairpin before, but it's a little bit too much. And I think that was just maybe going a little bit wide. It did accentuate the delta a little bit, but still 2/10 up, big gains. Tips it in for Piratella. It's going well. JC is bursting with excitement. He's egging him on. And coming now down into Acqua Minerale. Gets it nicely over the curves. Good run on the exit. 3/10 hovering right now. Now it is all down to Variante Alta, the make or break curve. And it gets it nicely turned in. Bit of a shallow entry, but a good exit as well. Really good exit. And it's going to be good momentum down to the end. Maintaining your delta is near impossible at Variante Alta. And he's going to just have the last two rebats, so hopefully gets it pulled up very nicely. Don't go too deep, Gibbo. Tips it in nicely. Very good on the first part. Nice. Second part. Turns it in nicely. Uses a good amount of curb. Not too much exit curb. Yep, very good. And it's going to be 3.5 tenths up so far for Callum Gibbo, which is going to put him up to surely P2 for the Gibbo trader at 40.795 for the Pixel Racer.
Yes. Good stuff, Gibbo. Really good. We're very happy with that. I guarantee it. Yoda will be clapping his hands in glee, and the three of us will be very happy to start from what's probably going to be around about P7, P8, P6, wherever that's going to be. We're very happy with that, Callum. Great stuff. Where's Jan? Jan usually in the chat. Her favourite grandson has just gone and put on a great display in the shootout, so I'm sure she'll get a replay of that sent to her and be very, very proud of young Callum Gibbons. Good stuff, Gibbo. And now it's time for Lunch Bag. Chris Murphy in the 161 Bin Chicken Racing Porsche. Actually, it's the Bluey Racing Bin Chicken Porsche this time. It is still Bin Chicken Racing, but they've got the Bluey livery happening. Very nice, subtle livery, this one. Very, very pretty.
Yeah, baby side blue, duck egg blue, whatever you want to call it. But Chris Murphy did a great job to get this into the top 10. And coming now through the Variante Villeneuve and now into the Tosa hairpin. This is where the Porsche has always been pretty good through this whole second sector. It's a lot of very sort of twisty, short runs between corners and all about direction change somewhat, which is why is the not surprising we saw Lamb the quickest through the middle sector, but that is also just Lamb things as well. Lamb things in Porsche things, and I'm sure Mr. Muller will be approving these appropriately. And coming now into Acqua Minerale. Good run. We're not really got anything to base it on, but it's looking good so far. And interesting to see how he takes his first run. Nice, 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 nice. That's looking very, very good. That's exactly what you want to do. It's just don't want to get that too much of a cut where the car starts to bounce, and then it starts to kill all momentum in the TC.
Final two corners, lap killers, pretty tidy though. Oh, a little bit of a missed apex there. I'm not sure whether the Porsche is supposed to take a big chunk of that. Maybe it's not, but it looked like he just didn't quite meet the apex there. But certainly got it and kept it on track. So he's running out wide. He's going to try and really open up the second lap here. 40.6 straight off the bat. It's very bloody handy. So now he's only got to find 3/10 to jump above the Sasha Dath Pro-Am, and that is an absolute send. And he's still up a 10th. How's he managed that? He's kind of lost a little bit on exit, but crikey Moses, he was going through backwards.
Yep, he had the tail out a little bit, but not just a nice little calculated slide, I'm sure he'll say, as he comes now into the hairpin again. where the Porsche is pretty much been one of the better cars. Just supreme traction from the rear engine layout of the Stuttgart machine. Short run up the hill, not the Porsche's strongest part is hills, and using every litre of its flat 6 engine. Coming up now, about 1/10, 1.5 tenths up. Maybe not enough for Sasha Def's time. Oh, a bit wide. Unfortunately, Marietta Alta, yeah. I'm not sure if he caught the inside curb and just spat him out wide a little bit, but as soon as you get onto that rumble strip, it's pretty unfortunate there for Chris Murphy, but still a damn good job with his first lap.
Track just makes no sense. I don't understand why people like this track. That's just
you.
That's unfair. There was nothing wrong with the entry, and he just got a little bit wide on the exit, and the curbs are like, no, you're coming with me, and they just tram line him out and completely ruin his lap. That's not fair.
This is why JC didn't qualify, so he could rant about it on comms.
You couldn't pay me to bloody qualify at this track. Christ, I was having none of it. Nah. I had a crack at Misano, I think, and I bottled it. Was it me that qualified Misano? I don't know. I've done one of them and I completely bottled it, so I'm not a qualifier.
That's funny because you're not a race driver.
Just walked into that one.
I was gonna say you are just a hot lapper.
Proper bants up here in the commentary box. Let's not talk about your race, shall we?
Oh, I think I'm still ahead of you in our championship.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Go pull up the board, because that was the first thing I looked at. I was like, oh yeah, what are you doing down there, Camp?
I think I checked it with an update even from last night. I'm still ahead of you.
What? Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Shit, I might have to look at one of my other rivals. Anyway, enough about us. Stefano Ricciuti has put together a crazy lap in his qualifying session for the Pro-Ams and has found himself up here in the shootout, which, based on the conversations we were having earlier, we know that Stefano Ricciuti is an extremely fast boy, so it was never really in doubt that he was going to be in amongst it, but to put himself in the shootout is a really, really solid effort for the Sophie Kingslow BMW. So let's see what he's got in him and whether or not he can really cement an excellent starting position for car number 90. This has looked like a very tidy first lap so far, but you say tidy regarding the BMW, it almost always looks tidy, the BMW. It never really seems to get too upset by anything. You can see there as it runs through Variante Alta, it just looks like it ignores the fact that there is sausages there. It's almost straight lining it with glee. Absolutely planted is this front-engined BMW. Nicely on the anchors, gets up on the curb, nice and wide. He's hitting every apex. Just a little kiss of the last curb there and a nice wide exit without touching the sand. So a very solid first outing here for Stefano, and he'll come across the line and will post us a 1:40.827, exactly 5 tenths off of the current top time. So a really good, solid start there, but he will be hoping to find a little bit extra, and in fact has found a 10th straight away in Variante Tamburello and has more to find, I'm sure.
Yep, coming in now into Villeneuve. Cuts it nicely, knows what he needs to do, knows he's got time up and just needs to nail every corner. It's just that easy, you know, just drive good. And a little bit wide on the exit. Did compromise his getting on the power as early, but still up half a tenth from what his previous last time, and coming up to an overall 2.5 tenths up now through Piratella. So a good run, 3 tenths. It's a lot on the line right now. He knows it, whether he looks at the delta like I do every 5 seconds, but he's got a good run now as well, and this is really stacking up trumps for the BMW. But here we go, through the chicane. Good cut on the entry, good cut on the exit. Not much of a bounce, good exit. Lost a little bit of time, but nothing too bad. 3 tenths up. Now getting it stopped into the Rivazza. Nice on the brakes. BMW not the sharpest cars when it comes to that part of the track, but going to be doing a good job overall. Hovering around 4 tenths, a little bit, maybe a smidge wide, but it's going to be good. It's 3.5 up. It's surely going to give him P2 provisionally. ahead of Chris Murley in between Sasha Def. Nicely done for Stefano Ricciuti, a 140.477.
Great stuff. Really strong showing there from Stefano Ricciuti. He looked like he carried a little bit of extra speed through a couple of those corners, but it goes to show how really super clean that first lap was, because he didn't really improve, even though it looked like he was sending it a little bit harder. So yeah, that first lap's super clean. Now it's time for Godzilla. Stevie Ty is in the 111 GTR, and he'll be looking to really stick it right up there inside the top 3 potentially. So we'll want to go on provisional pole here, I'm sure. Let's see what he can do.
Big Sasha Def's time is still just red hot still on the after that first run, and it's gonna take some displacing, but definitely nothing safe for now. There's still 4 more runners, starting with Stephen Ty. Coming now, it'll be interesting to see how the GTR feds in. It's pure just hot lap mode right now. GTR is far from the sharpest tool. It's a very blunt instrument, but it's still definitely capable of taking your head off and doing a very quick time, especially around here in the Italian track. See how he takes the chicane. Really tips it in with a little bit of reverse entry, but unfortunately I think that's really wide on exit, but it's still valid, it's still good. It may not have been as quick as it could have been.
It's still good.
It's still good. As the pig flies down now into Ravazza, gets it nicely stopped on the GTR brakes, a little bit of entry curb because the rotation's generally not so good in this car, but going well to see where he banks in this lap. Where is it going to be? It is going to provisionally put him up to P5 with a 40.850. Pretty good banker overall, and we'll see what he can produce on the one that counts.
Well, we know there's a lot of time in Variante Alta, so we'll keep an eye on the Delta as he gets up there. If he's got 1 or 2 tenths in the bag by the time he gets there, you can very safely assume that this is going to be an extremely strong time, because even with that huge mistake that we saw, he would have had to have got on the anchors and really pulled out of that to keep it valid. He did keep it valid, but he would have lost so much time trying to keep it valid through Variante Alta. So the fact that he's got a 10th here as he rounds Tosa suggests to me that that 5 tenths is in danger by the time we get there. If he can round these couple of corners nice and clean. Look at that, he's just sent it through the first part of Piratella and gained a little bit. Lost it on exit though, so there is still time to be found. Tell you what, everyone in chat commenting on how good this Nissan sounds. It's even better from inside. It's just a straight sound. It's so nice. I used to like it, but now that it's grown on me, I love it. It's a proper sounding vehicle, is the GTR. Let's see here what happens to the Delta as he gets it right. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, the momentum, the run out of the exit, 6 tenths up. That's huge cuts and huge gains from the GTR. Now coming down to Ravazza, hopefully gets it stopped, hopefully it hasn't all gone to his head, cuts it nicely, gets it turned in. 7 tenths on the clock, quite wide, hopefully doesn't cut to sand, but does a good job as Stephen Ty run down the line, hug the wall, get it short as possible run. Surely provisional pole now for this GTR.
Yes.
It's a 140.142. Excellent drive from Stephen Ty. No arguments on the VOP, thank you, bye.
Getting that close to a 39 in a shootout is something that we reserve for basically our aliens. So to be right up there in the GTR, no less, which is carrying extra weight, that is a mammoth effort from Stevie Ty, and he was not scared to completely send it through Variante Alta. After making that mistake on the first lap, you might have forgiven him really for just being a bit more reserved through there and trying to bank maybe 3 or 4 tenths, but he absolutely sent it and gained a full 6 tenths, which has gone and put him on provisional pole. So now it's up to our man Cookie to see what he can do in the kitchen. What can he cook up for us in the 17 Ford? The smokestack racing entry with Hamilton and Hignett behind the wheel for the 12 hours. And Brad, as you said before, very super duper strong in our sprint series. He's been behind the wheel of this Ford all season long, so he is familiar with this vehicle. and you would expect a very strong showing here. Can he match Stevie Tyre's time, if not improve on it?
Yeah, gonna be very interested to see whether Mustang stacks up relative to his other Mustang compatriot of Gibbo, but also the GTR. As the new gauntlet has been set down, a bit wide there. That's not going to be a good run, and going to lose a little bit of time through the exit of Aqua Minerale. We definitely know what Brad Cook is capable of. He didn't look not to say what he could have possibly done, but in the first part of the the pro qualification, he was there, but he wasn't really at the tippity top of the times, but still did a very good job to make sure he got into the top 10 very well and truly. But we'll see what can be produced on his first lap so far for the Ford Mustang driver and Pete, the car 17. So 40.5, so I'll just rescind everything I said. Still a very good time. But yes, very good time so far for a banker. And definitely I think there was room for improvement as well, which will be he'll have in the back of his mind. He knows there's a lot of places. He's already 1.5 tenths up so far in the first part after Tamburello, now into Villeneuve. 2.5 tenths up. He's going very well in the Mustang. A little bit more energy in the car. He's sending it a little bit more with a little bit more vigor somewhat, as the tires are in a much better window, and you can lean on the car a little bit, but this is all that matters. It's all or nothing. 3 tenths up on the Delta. Coming now into Piratella, turns it in nicely, uses just the amount of exit he needs to, carrying good speed and good momentum. Now tips it in for the Aqua Minerale. Deep, no, way too much, and unfortunately it's done, and finds the wall in frustration. I imagine that's really unfortunate. Just a little bit too late on the brakes. I don't think he really caught the curb. I'm not too sure, but very unfortunate for Cook, because that was gonna be very much in the contention for pole.
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think there was too much wrong with the curb placement. It was just a big send. He just wanted that lap, and he just put it in there deep on the anchors, and unfortunately it was a little bit too deep. I don't know much about Brad's mum, but she's probably not too pleased with that. But she won't be disappointed starting from P4, that's for sure. And with only a few drivers to come, I think there's only 2 to go. It's probably a P6 for Cook and the boys in the Shell Helix car. So that's a bloody good effort from Cookie. Won't be too displeased with that, I don't think. That first lap, exceptional.
There is no discredit to the rest of our runners, but here are our 2 big heavyweights. The Aston Martin of Chris Cooley and will be followed by the Porsche of Matt Lamb. But we see Cooley doing everything he can on the initial out lap to get as much heat in the tires, dragging those brakes to get as much warm up as possible. It won't be as good as the second lap, but it's still worth doing to get to improve the performance of the first lap. TC1, TC2 on 6, and the ABS2 for the Aston Martin. Different ways of going quick through all these different cars. Good cuts here on the left and the right of Tamburello. What more can we say? We just know how good Chris Cooley is, an exemplary driver, especially in his home comfort of the Aston Martin.
Yeah, spot on. And you mentioned the TC and the ABS. Most of us sort of use around about 3 or 4 or something. It's just the confidence that this man has in that car to be only using TC1 is pretty supreme. And as I said, it's his comfort car. This Aston Martin is very, very strong in this vehicle. So you can expect this opening lap here to be very strong, and is certainly not shying away from any of the curbs. He's really using every entry, and has not quite made the apexes on most of these yet, but that's while he's waiting for the tyres to warm up. Once he gets those in the optimum window, you can expect him to be properly sending. He gave it a very good send through Variante Alta. So, yeah, he missed a couple in the first sector, but if he finds those ones and then gets a similar Variante Alta to that one, you can expect this to be a very, very nice time. Couple more corners to go. The Ravazzas, the lap killers, no sand on the exit there. That's a great start for Chris Cooley. He will come across the line pretty pleased with that one, but we'll know that there's more time in it. This is going to be good. It's a 39.7. Not even close. 3.5 tenths on the outlap, if you don't mind. What can he do on lap 2?
Yep, I just had a feeling that was already going to be worthy of pole just for the outlap. He had a much better run through Variante Alta than he did on his previous runs that we saw in the first part of the qualification for this top 10. Going well so far. Dead set even on what he is on from last lap, coming around through Toza. It's crazy how he pitches the car in like it's a go-kart somewhat, very violently on the entry. But now into Piratella, just carrying all the speed, a little bit of brake as he tries to pitch the car around, using most of the exit there, hovering around a couple of hundreds here and there. Tips it in nicely, using a lot of entry curve. Oh, a little bit of a having to correct a little bit. Oh, and unfortunately I had to correct a little bit more as it was a little bit scrappy and has lost 2 tenths. So it's going to be a big ask to kind of recover those in the last few corners. Tips it over and nicely does a good job, but unfortunately not as good as his last run. Now down to 3 tenths. So unfortunate, but it might be all he needs anyway is the first lap. But he comes now down. I think it's done. Yep, he's
gonna show us some drift. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Look, don't be. I mean, a 39.7 is quite incredible for a time that is on suboptimal tyres. So that is the pressure of the shootout, and that's what Matt Lamb will be contesting with now. Is that he's got to go out there on those tyres that aren't up to temperature, and he's got to match a 39.7 because those tyres really don't ever come into the window until around about lap 3. And sometimes lap 4, depending on what car you're in. So the fact that these times are coming out on lap 1 and lap 2 is most incredible, and that's what makes these shootouts such a high pressure cooker environment, is that you think you're chasing your personal best time, but you're really not. To get anywhere near a personal best in these shootouts is otherworldly, which is why we saw some really fast times when they had that full 20 minutes earlier. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the 39.1 that we saw from Matt Lamb, but he will go close, that's for sure. This man is peak male, and he loves this Porsche. So looking forward to, he is absolutely on it already. He looked really good through Tamburello, and again there through Villeneuve. Lots of slip angle on the way in, and then using all the curb on the way out. He is all over it. Look at this lap so far, Cam. This is looking hot.
Absolutely. You call him a prime male. Could you say Matthew Lamb is a prime cut? But of a driver. But yeah, he is just gonna blow smoke up his butthole all night if he can do what it needs to be done. But it's just a pleasure here to watch him dance the Porsche throughout the lap, and all of these drivers as well. Yeah, credit to Chris Cooley as well for getting that first lap in there straight away off the bounce. A little bit didn't carry as much speed as Cooley into Variante Alta, and good exit, but not too sure what the time is going to be. I reckon this won't displace Cooley's time straight off the board, and it'll all matter about the second one. I think this the Porsche might be more receptive to the better setup tires overall than the Aston Martin. It might matter a little bit more to the more mechanically gripped Porsche.
39.7 was the time to beat. What's he got on lap 1? 39.6, he's gone and done it. That's it. Go home, people. It's all over. Goodness gracious, Matty Lamb. What a performance. On lap 1, I said that first sector looked hooked up, but that is mean. That is just bullying people, Matt Lamb. Slow down. Goodness gracious. Has he got any more? Ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy now. We just get to watch the man and vehicle together as one, put together what could possibly be a low 39. Absolutely incredible, Matt Lamb. Sean Muller can't at the footy at the moment, so you won't see this until later on, but this is his favourite driver and his favourite car. He will absolutely love that performance.
Absolutely. Porsche driver, you already know he's got pole, but now he can afford to just send it and it won't really matter. Currently going to improve by 1.5 tenths so far. Tips it in to the last part of this track, and coming now down to the decider, the track breaker, the lap breaker, the tier maker. Gets it nicely turned in, carries a lot more speed, a lot more vigor than he did do on the last lap. I was going to say, that's why I didn't think it was going to be pole, because it was a bit conservative through the chicane, but that's what it's like when he fully sends it. And now he's going to send it into the final braking zone of the Rivazza.
Oh my God.
Nicely done, 4.5 tenths up. Nicely again for the last part. Good run, 4 tenths up. What's it going to be? It's surely going to be a 39 low. 38 will elude us, but frankly, if you're 39.2 in a 2-lap run, it is going to be a 39.265 from Matthew Lamb to round out pole position here at the Imola 12-hour.
Go and get absolutely loved, Matt Lamb. That is unfair and disgusting simultaneously. What a performance in the shootout. To be half a second clear of the rest of the field, that is quite insane. (992) Laundry House starting from pole. Britt, Lamb, Lawrenson and Gallo. That is quite incredible. We'll see Matty Lamb come out and lead everyone out on a bit of a parade lap here. Unfortunately, Stevie Ty has had to depart, so he won't be joining the top 3 on their little parade lap, but Cooley certainly will be. A very strong performance from him. If I know Cooley, and I do, he'll be a little bit disappointed that he couldn't quite hook that second lap up, but a little bit hard on himself to start P2 in this field is no mean feat. To get into the 39s that comfortably is quite strong, so yeah, Cooley, a very strong lap and should be pleased with himself, but it looks like no one was getting near Matty Lamb today. That is just smoking. Prime cut Lamb, fastest in all 3 sectors with a 39.265 on his second lap. Cooley and the Toro Mesa boys very happy with P2, 21.3 in the first sectors, very close to Matty Lamb, but then you can see through the second and third sectors just how supreme Matt Lamb was. So the Toro Mesa boys 165 starting from P2, and Ty, as I said, with a very good showing in the Nissan GTR Power up on P3 on the second row, joined by Sasha Death and Darth in the Pro-Am class, by the way. That's P4 class. That's a good effort from them too.
Absolutely. Could wax lyrical all day on the abilities of these drivers as Matthew Lamb tries to give it a little bit of a drift through the last part. But yep, classic act of the field, these two. And dare say the gap between Cooley and Lamb is probably not as representative as it would be, but no discredit to Matthew Lamb. It was an insane lap, and it was all on the money there and all on the margin, and they're going to be rewarded with pole position for next week's Imola 12-hour. Join us next time around. Closing thoughts?
I'm just gonna go and have a shower because I feel dirty having seen and witnessed that. That's my closing thought. Thank you to Permobile for sponsoring us for this series, and of course getting behind us for tonight's qualifying and for the 12-hour next week. So thank you to Chat for joining us tonight. Go ahead and enjoy your Friday evening and counting lambs as you fall asleep tonight. I think that's just going to do us. I haven't got much else to tell you. Have a good weekend, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.